Joe presents Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello, and you're very welcome to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby, where my brain is about to explode with the amount of rugby I've watched over the weekend. But nevertheless, we are here on Joe together with Guinness to talk about another enthralling weekend of Champions Cup rugby. We look ahead to the 2019 Guinness Six Nations. We have Munster and All Blacks legend Doug Howlett joining us on the phone for a chat. We'll also announce our Guinness Made of More player of the weekend and answer your Twitter questions. How are you, Trimby?
Oh, Barry, just brilliant.
I can see it. It's
on top of the world.
It's oozing out of you.
Yeah, I had a little city break with my wife at the weekend. We were over in London.
Oh.
We went to see Hamilton, the musical.
What's that about? That the big dog or something, no?
I was actually gonna go into a little bit more detail about how uncultured I was, not knowing the history, but slightly.
Yeah, better than me.
Yeah, yeah. Alexander Hamilton, he was an aide to George Washington, founding fathers, and anyway, they made. Have you not heard about this?
No.
They made this musical, and it's all like hip hop rap. They rap the whole way through the whole story.
Cool.
Yeah, it's like 2
rapping
hours.
founding fathers. Like
Yeah,
George Washington.
I'm really
rapping.
surprised you haven't heard of this show. It's really difficult to
Killing
get
it.
tickets, and really. So anyway, we booked it ages ago, but it was amazing. Went for an amazing meal afterwards. Just stayed in a nice place, just coffees, chilled out, got away from the kids for the weekend, and it was brilliant. Saw zero rugby, so
Man.
I was a highlights on the road on the way down the road.
Oh, well, I've watched enough for. Am I turning into that rugby nerd now that just watches rugby all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, God, I feel like less uncool after every weekend of this.
That's uncool.
Yeah, more and more uncool. Is that right? Sorry, more
The
uncool.
double negative made you more cool.
Yeah, but it's, and I was getting pulled for it on Saturday night. Last night I was at the Munster match and all we had like an ex-players reunion, and they all just kept slagging me for being.
Oh no.
Yeah, they used to admire me for how much I had moved away from it, and now I'm back in. I'm just like, did you see this guy in his class? And did you see this match? And they were all like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But
Who was slagging you?
Mossy Lawler, current Connacht and Irish schools coach, was abusing me. Yeah. He was like, he wanted me to start calling out more people that I hate on the show, as opposed to talking rugby. He was like, tell everyone who you hate. And I was like, I don't hate anyone, man. He's like, I know you hate someone.
He's obviously pretty into his rugby if he's coaching Irish schools.
Kind of. Yeah, I suppose he is, yeah. He's into the gear more. He loves getting free gear.
Right, yeah.
I think that's mainly what he did. But we actually had a really funny thing, man. They had like in the Munster West Stand of Thomond Park, they have this huge Munster supporters club, big room. It's kind of a bar they fit about 1,000 people in there. So before a game, they have a band starting to set up, and they've a couple of bars in there, and it's jammed. But they decided to invite us to have our pre-match drinks and have a bit of a reunion there, ex-players and stuff. So they said they'd cordon off a little part of the place for us, which was kind of weird because we don't really need that, but they said they would anyway. So we got there, and I swear there was 1,000 people crammed into this room, and they said they'd get us an area for us. So they just picked this massive area in front of the bar, like the size of a television room, let's say, and they put a red rope around it, and they moved all these people out of there and just stuck 2 tables in the middle of it, and everyone had to be moved out of it, was kind of going, what's going on in here? Who is coming into this?
Oh, it must be royalty.
Bull ring. Yeah.
Is it Meghan and Harry?
Oh my God, it was the worst thing. So I looked at this and I was there, there's no way I'm going into that thing.
No way.
Everyone was
Shocking
kind of
PR.
leaning in, looking like it was like there was going to be some sort of a cockfight or something in there.
Oh no.
So Dennis Hurley, the poor soul, had to go in because he had organised it. He had to go in on his own.
Yeah, because he organised the Ulster one the week before.
Did he? Yeah, and just stood there with a pint in his hand, and we all just laughed at him. Left him there alone until they made it small enough, so it was just a little circle. But
That's tough.
it was quality, and yeah, we had a great night. Watching Munster scraping by in a dirty one, basically in Thomond Park.
Filthy.
Yeah, I'll give you the gist.
Yeah.
It was 9-7. It was the most Thomond Park game I've ever seen in my life.
So I believe I saw bits of it. It looked just kind of dogged and just getting the dog done.
Getting the dog done. We ate the dog at the end. Yeah, it was scrappy. Exeter played very well, to be fair to them. They were up for the challenge. Munster didn't really manage the game very well. I think they'll. I heard Jerry Flannery kind of saying that, which is a fair comment. Joey Carberry, still brilliant game with the boot. I think he's 20 out of 20 kicks. Scored some unbelievable penalties to get the win. But himself and Murray were a little bit off. I think Murray got a knock to his neck or shoulder, the one that was giving him a bit of trouble, that mysterious one. So early on, so he was kind of struggling.
Not a concern for Six Nations.
No, he finished. Well, he didn't finish. He only played about 60 minutes. But I was speaking to him afterwards, and he said he was fine. He was looking forward to getting away for a few days, obviously. Big shout out to Billy Holland, who came on. He got his 202nd cap. So we like to, acknowledge different things, not the usual. Like everyone else was kind of going 200 caps. Oh, great! Right, nah, it's 202 for us, right?
Yeah.
That's the special one for us. But he came on, had 2 huge turnovers, turnover line out, turnover, give a big hit basically on one of their back rows and turned over the ball there. He also had 2 massive contributions last weekend over in Gloucester, where he came on and set up 2 tries basically. Yeah. Big shout out to him. Peter O'Mahony got through 80 minutes of pretty intense work. Tyke Byrne picked up another man of the match.
Yeah.
He was unreal.
Yeah.
Just getting through loads of work, got a couple of turnovers and came off injured himself as well, but hopefully he'll be all right.
Yeah, Tyke Byrne and Iain Henderson, both man of the match performances, and arguably, certainly in the autumn anyway, they were 3rd and 4th choice second rows.
How do you leave them out?
Yeah, I know. You have to find a way to get them involved. But then when you look at the guys that are ahead of them, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, but
yeah, I think we'll get there probably later on when we talk with the Six Nations squad. But you're right, like it's brilliant headaches for Joe Schmidt. CJ Stander had an unbelievable game again. I think he had 25 tackles in the game. Munster had 198 tackles in the game, which is pretty huge. I think an average is about 150 in a given game. That would be a high amount of tackles. So 198 just shows how much ball Exeter had. But Munster managed them very well. I think there was only one maul where they kind of struggled and Exeter got a try off. But yeah, it was a good battle. I'd say they were very, very sore after it. But sure, look, that's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah. Being sore after. Yeah. That's more or less it.
Good enough for them.
Yeah.
Sure, don't they get paid well? Anything you'd like to add there from your watching of Munster over the weekend?
No, I really only saw the highlights and I saw live the last kind of 10-15 minutes, and it just looked like Exeter kind of weren't really going anywhere. They were trying to keep the ball alive, trying to play as much rugby as possible, but they weren't just chasing a win, they were chasing beating them by more than 7 points. So it just looked like Munster were just getting up and just hitting them over and over, and yeah, I could just played a dogged performance and just got it over the line. Yeah,
we'll talk a bit more about that when Dougie joins us on the phone, and we'll also talk about their game against Edinburgh in part 3 in the quarter-final. We'll discuss how maybe they should approach that game. Were you at the Ulster game?
I wasn't because I was.
It was away, sure. Sorry,
I was with my wife.
And it was what a win, though. Did you see it?
Yeah. I saw bits of it. It probably in the end, arguably, Ulster probably would have been better off had they not won the game. Now, obviously, Saracens, Racing, and Leinster. That was the pecking order 1, 2, 3 in the end. And if Ulster had lost the game, if they got a losing bonus point, or maybe even if they got nothing, they might have gone to Saracens. Yeah, Saracens, isn't that right, Pat? They would never go to Racing in the end. So just because Toulouse didn't get the bonus point at home to Bath, so it was important from an Ulster point of view that they got the win, because their season's been quite up and down. It's generally been up in Europe and down for Interpros, and the league where they're sitting at the minute, they've got Treviso this weekend, and that's a massive game because Treviso, I think, are sitting like 3rd in the league or something, 2nd, like a few points ahead of them anyway. But they're all congested at this stage, and that's a massive game, arguably as big a game as the Leicester game. From an Ulster point of view, it was good that they, more than just winning the game for European reasons, but just to keep the momentum going and keep on track. because they look like a confident side at the minute. Like, I mean, whenever you're down 13-0 away from home in Welford Road, it takes a confident side to kind of dig in and get back into the game and win the game. So hopefully they can keep that momentum going. But yeah, I think they showed a decent bit of belief. John Cooney came off the bench, made a decent impact. His impact coincided with, I think, just a lot more accuracy in Ulster's attack, a lot more accuracy in their breakdown, and then he was getting really good ball, and they played, and they kind of got their tails up a bit. Dave Shanahan did really well. There's a little bit of chat about John Cooney coming on and changing the game. I'm not sure that was the case. I think he arrived and certainly did really well, but that coincided with the breakdown just being a lot cleaner, the ball being crisper, maybe Leicester starting to tire a little bit.
He probably does give you a lot of confidence, though, when you're a player and you're seeing that they weren't far off at that point with something clicking, but then you see someone like Cooney coming onto the pitch and you're like, yes, this is where it'll kick on for us. And
again, even in the run-up to the game, the surprise inclusion of Henderson, that's a yes moment.
Unbelievable.
Because he's a guy, I think, Pat, you might correct me if I'm wrong here, he was certainly man of the match in one of the Scarlets back-to-back games. He might have been man of the match in both of them.
Definitely the home game, yeah. He was definitely man of the match in the home game, and
it was Will Addison. Sorry, that's wrong. Will Addison was man of the match over there, but he was brilliant over there anyway. So man of the match in 2 of the last 3 European games.
Yeah, and 12 tackles, 12 carries, full 80 minutes when he's been out for what, a month or so.
Straight back into it. He's having a class season. Yeah. He's also Rugby Supporters Club put up a clip of him, some of his kind of highlights over the last few seasons. And some of his carries are just hilarious.
Really?
And there's lads just dropping off him, and he's got everything. He's got every wee trick. He's got a bit of a sidestep because he doesn't look like he's going to be an agile. He's got so much weight from the waist down in his legs, massive, big, thick hamstrings and arse. Like, it's enormous. But he's really quick and agile. He's got a bit of a sidestep. He's got a bit of a fend, a hit, a spin. There was one clip against Saracens a few years ago, and it was just hilarious how he was still going towards the Saracens try line. And it reminded me and Hendy were having this conversation a while back, and it was a similar clip. I think it was an Italian second row. It might have been Furo. Is that the name of the Italian second row?
Fusaro, maybe?
No, he's the back. Anyway, I can't remember. The guy with the long hair, this Italian lock, was trying to tackle Hendy, and it was just one of those ones where Hendy fends him, but then kind of holds on to him, right? And this guy's
took him with him.
Went on for ages. I'd say 5 seconds later, he's still like holding on, and there's this moment where the guy's almost like pleading with him, please, this is getting so embarrassing. Can you please just go down? But that's
like when Nelson Muntz was using Bart as his shield in American football, just bouncing off all the other players.
So whenever you get someone like Hendy back in your team, you're right. There's just a lift. There's a confidence. We know we're gonna start. We're gonna get a few gain lines here. A few boys are gonna get smashed. We're gonna get a few turnovers, and again, just brings everybody together again, and just reminds them that when it gets to Europe, that Ulster can really compete well.
Yeah, I mean, if they get all those players on the field, for sure, they're going into that Leinster match and the quarter-final, it is going to be important that they have the likes of Cooney and Hendy and all the big players on the pitch for them. But how do you feel how far do you think they can go, this Ulster team?
Obviously, Leinster away is really, really difficult.
Potential repeat of 1999. I know it was a different competition back then. All the teams weren't in it. But having the 99 team at the match last weekend, must have given Ulster a little bit of like, we can do this again.
Yeah, I think so. There's a little bit of an excitement development when you look at Ulster. Their only away knockout game that they've won. So they won. I'm thinking of 2012. They beat Munster in the quarterfinals. Again, I know they beat Edinburgh the following week in Dublin, but an Interpro just makes it slightly more of a lottery. Anybody you speak to would say, listen, Leinster would be the favourites. Of course they would. They're outstanding, but you just never know. If Ulster turn up and perform, I assume it's going to be at the Aviva. I don't know. Again, it just makes it more of a one-off and slightly more of a lottery. Obviously, if you're going to Saracens, it's still really tough. If you're going to Racing, it's tough. And then you've got the baggage of knowing that you've gone there earlier in the season and got beat badly. So any of those is going to be tough. Arguably, Munster probably got the easiest away draw. but
Sure.
still Edinburgh are playing really good rugby as well. So it's quite exciting. It's quite fun, isn't it? Having three provinces in the quarterfinals, and it's nice to see where that's going to go.
And if Ulster were to get there again and repeat the 1999 win, I just got me thinking about what you said last week about a throwback to those kind of players, and I want to see if you've done any homework.
I've done a bit of homework, yeah. I've done a little bit of homework, but I thought some of the homework I did led to a few kind of unremarkable findings.
Right.
Right. So I thought it might make it a little bit more fun. So have you ever played Balderdash?
No.
Balderdash is a board game where you basically have to lie and try and convince someone that what you're saying is the truth. Okay.
Great.
So I'm going to give you. I thought I would look at two players.
Yeah.
Simon Mason,
Yeah.
obviously Ulster stalwart. Do you know Simon Mason? he was the fullback and the goal kicker in
Oh
99,
yes, sorry, I do.
and he
of
literally
course.
never missed.
Yeah, huge boot.
Yeah.
Played a good few times for Ireland, right?
Yeah, he played for
Yeah.
Ireland a few times. I think he went on to play for Stad. Then he played in Italy as well, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, our thing is,
Huge boot. Yeah.
what's he doing now?
Yeah.
So I thought I would give you a few options of what he's doing now, and you can decipher what the true one is.
Mm-hmm.
So Simon Mason, did he
This is great.
did he A, set up a Botox clinic in Abu Dhabi, where he now lives with his pet alpaca Duncan, named after his favourite character, Duncan the blind man from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? Or is he B, a vegan milkman living with a religious community in a private compound in the Ards Peninsula? Or does he C, live near Liverpool and work as a teacher in a boarding school?
Can we be again?
And live with his wife and 2 children?
No way, that's not believable. Who would do that? Can we be again?
B is Simon Mason is a vegan milkman living with a religious community in a private compound in the Ards Peninsula.
Okay, first of all, that Duncan character, he's no one's favourite out of Prince of Thieves. Like,
I know.
he's a pain in the ass, if anything.
Well, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So is
That's
that,
true.
That must be true then. Is that
Alpacas, are they found in Dubai? Is it Abu Dhabi or Dubai he lives in?
Abu Dhabi?
There's a bit of doubt. There's a bit of doubt. So, just only for that hint of doubt, I would have probably gone with A, but only for that hint of doubt, I think I'm going to go with B. He is a vegan milkman.
No, believe it or not, he lives a very boring life in Liverpool as a teacher
Okay.
with his wife and 2 daughters.
Okay.
But
Anything
I did
called Duncan?
No,
No.
Either of his daughters called Duncan.
That's great.
I did discover though that I didn't verify this. I heard this, so I don't know if it's completely true. I heard it was true anyway. That Dan McFarlane, when he played at Richmond, Simon Mason was his landlord.
Go away.
So Dan McFarlane, current Ulster coach. So
Who told you that?
when I was doing research, or they sent through notes for the Ulster Racing game last weekend, and this was one of the notes, one of the
Right.
So I'm sure it's correct. BT sent it through. So
Right. That's random of them to send through as well.
yeah, I know.
I like it.
Yeah. So we're not done.
Okay, go on.
I decided we mentioned Simon Gagan last week as well, and he's obviously not. He wasn't involved in the '99, but he's a guy I think both of us admire. And any
Absolutely.
winger doing well, someone would ask them, who do you remember when you were a youngster? Loads of people say Simon Gagan.
Gagan.
Everybody wants to
Absolutely.
be Simon Gagan. I certainly mentioned him. I've
Yeah.
heard Tommy talk about him. Anyway, I'm Simon Gagan. Tommy can be like Keith Crossan or Trevor Ringland, one of those guys.
Trevor England was the kind of predecessor
Listen, these guys are
to
legends.
Simon Gagan, yeah.
Yeah, but they're not Simon Gagan.
Yeah, but yeah, okay.
And they're not the same era either.
Yeah.
Actually, it's
Not too far off though, right?
yeah,
Crossan and Ringland would be, yeah. Anyway,
yeah. They'd be 10 years before Gagan.
a few years,
Yeah.
maybe not 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Well, anyway, Simon Gagan.
Yeah.
Is he A?
I know the answer to this.
Oh, whoa. Well, let me just hold
Okay.
on. Listen,
I'm-
listen. You
okay.
knew the answer to the first one. Okay, Simon Gagan. Is he A, a cross-dressing dairy farmer living in a studio apartment in D4? Or is he B, an entrepreneur who started a Bitcoin-funded investment bank located on Rathlin Island for tax purposes? The enterprise is extremely unsuccessful due to Rathlin Island not actually having any tax incentives, limited electricity, and zero footfall. Simon moonlights as a hairdresser 2 nights a week to make ends meet. Simon is single, depressed, and passes the time by watching and rewatching his try against England in '94.
Just sitting in the dark, smoking a lonely cigarette.
No lights because there's no electricity in Rathlin.
Oh, is he still on Rathlin?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like
all
option
of that,
D.
all of that
is
happened in Rathlin. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, sorry. Or C.
Or C.
Does he work for Rosalind King in London and specialise in real estate finance?
Nah, fuck that.
It's too far-fetched, isn't it?
B all the way, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I want to see him.
Yeah.
And he's still like just out practicing. You know, he had a sore toe or something, did he?
Yeah, he's done his
Yeah,
tour.
so he can't, he's to run on his bare feet or something like that, but he's on an island, so it's
Yeah.
grand. He just has a coconut.
Wherever you want.
And that's amazing.
It's not that kind of island, Rathlin.
Is it not?
No.
Where is Rathlin Island?
Rathlin's up north. It's just off Coast by the Castle. and
Better. I thought it was
coconut.
some tropical island.
Coconut.
Just a potato. A rotten potato.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's Simon Gagan.
Still one of those really old brown and white balls that they used to play.
Yes,
brown
yeah.
and black balls.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we're going to have to move on. That is a brilliant feature. Can we do that every week?
It's balls in your court for next week.
Okay,
Yeah?
perfect.
I think you'll have a lot
I
of fun.
don't know what
doing that.
year I'll take. Maybe I might go a bit earlier again, like from 1999. I might go old school.
Was rugby played back then?
Yeah, back like mid-80s when we won the Triple Crown a few times. That'd be
yeah.
my era. Yeah.
Does that mean I've got to watch loads of rugby this weekend if
No.
you're taking that?
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's all right.
Nah, you don't. We'll move on quickly to Leinster v Wasps today. That only happened a few hours ago, so we're fresh from watching it briefly. Sean O'Brien back at number 8 for Jack Conan, who unfortunately missed out. Sean Cronin getting another two tries. He's now the top try scorer, I think, alongside Stockdale in the competition. Gibson Park had another huge game as well for Leinster, 37-19 over Wasps.
Henshaw back as well.
Yeah, great to see Henshaw back.
Yeah.
Just saw some of the tries, and look, it was a foregone conclusion from the start. They were going to win with a bonus point, but again, just the variety in their play, I think, was very impressive.
Were they slightly more vulnerable in defence than we've been kind of getting used to? I thought they just looked a little bit leaky, or maybe it's just getting to the end of the pool stage. They'd done their job, they got their bonus point.
Yeah.
And it was irrelevant, really.
Yeah, they were caught out wide a couple of times. But, yeah, look.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
It was done. It was done. They're just kind of with that attitude at the moment that they are conceding tries, but it's like, we'll just outscore you every time.
Yeah.
You won't be able to live with us.
Sean O'Brien, has he done enough to get in the mix with Ireland?
I thought he played very well. He was in number 8, so obviously it's not his preferred position, but he just looked like he was back to normal.
Really?
Yeah. Some big carries, just work rate, working through ridiculous amount of work. So who knows, man?
Joe
He'll
loves him.
probably start again next weekend.
Yeah.
Joe is a big fan of his, but again, that back row and the back 5 in general for Ireland is going to be so competitive.
Yeah.
And Fleer, another big game as well. Peter O'Mahony's playing so well from Munster and CJ as well. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting decisions to make.
Yeah, and we've already decided that Hendy and Tag Byrne
is in there as well.
are going to play in the back row, so there's only space for one back row.
Yeah, unlucky lads.
Yeah.
Decisions have been made here.
Yeah.
But I will come to their quarter-final game against Ulster again later on. But first of all, we're going to be joined by Doug Howlett on the phone for a quick chat. Well, I do want to talk about your current role in Munster, Doug, but before I do that, I'd like if you could take us back to what rugby was like for you in school. I know you were a champion athlete at school, but was rugby the main interest for you, or was there other things outside of that?
Yeah, I guess like all kids growing up, I had exposure to all sports, and it quickly narrowed down to a winter sport and a summer sport for me. And they were rugby and track and field. in the summer. So they certainly complemented each other. I had a little bit of reasonable success early, which sort of pushed me in that direction. So it kind of got serious around secondary school, which is 13, 14. There's an All Black under 16 jersey you can get. There's an All Black under 16 team that's selected. So I was just turned 15 and I was selected for that team, and you're handed an All Black jersey, an under 16 All Black jersey, and I think from that moment, it's there's a pathway that you can follow. So that's where it got quite serious for me, and during my summer months, I would go back to my track and field. So they were the two big sports for me.
And then when you left school, you actually started your Super Rugby career with Otago, and then went to the Hurricanes, and then finally back to your home team, the Auckland Blues. Talk us through how that happened.
Yeah, so I guess I played my first Super Rugby game my last year at school. I was 18, so I was drafted into the Highlanders. There were a few injuries in the Highlander team, and they called me up from school to go down and play Super Rugby. So I did that, played in the weekends, and I'd come back to school during the week. So that was a pretty amazing time, going through that. Following that year, I had my first full year of Super Rugby, and that was with the Hurricanes. And at the time, there was a draft system. So each province, Blues, Hurricanes, Crusaders, Chiefs, Highlanders, could protect 24 players. And if you weren't in that 24, the other provinces could call on you. Okay. So I was in a group of wingers in Auckland, Joelle Vanderi, Jonah Lomu, and Brian Lima. So they were the three protected wingers. So I went into a draft system, and I was picked up by the Hurricanes. So I joined, Tanu Umanga and Christian Cullen down in Wellington for my first full year of Super Rugby. The following year, I came back to the Blues, which was my hometown.
Dougie, we'll collect all those names that you just dropped there. We'll tidy that up.
It was a special time, I must say, for me. For an 18-year-old kid, watching these guys on telly one day, and then turning up at training with them the next day. Yeah. And then following on from that, I was called into the All Blacks, a couple of years after. And I came into a group of All Black wingers. For me, Tanu Umanga, Jeff Wilson, Jonah Lomu, and me. So you can only imagine how wide my eyes were turning up at training with that group. But it was some training field, some training ground, developed my game a huge amount just being around the guys.
It was a golden era for not just New Zealand rugby, but for rugby, I think, in general. All the eyes on this side of the world were looking at what you were doing down there, especially in my house anyway. And look, you went on to play 62 tests for the All Blacks, scoring 49 tries, and are still currently the top ever try scorer for the All Blacks. Now, Trimby and I were discussing this earlier on, and the people behind you are likes of Colin Rockakoko, Sevilla, Wilson, Lomu, Ione. Sevilla is the closest at the moment, and there were rumours that you were trying to get him to sign for Munster a couple of years ago. Is this your tactic now, that when anyone gets close to your record, you just try and sign them or make them disappear in some way?
Yeah, and look, it's one of the great things about New Zealand rugby, but also Irish rugby, is that in order to be eligible to play for the All Blacks, you have to be playing in the country. So the fact is, when I left New Zealand, I said I closed the door on my All Black career, and to date, 46 seems to be the stumbling block. Christian Cullen got to 46, Joe Rockasoko got to 46, Julian Sevilla got to 46, and Julian signed for Toulon. So in effect, unless he decides to go back and have a go at the All Blacks, he can't get any more tries for the All Blacks. So at the time, he couldn't take the smile off my face. But listen, these things are made to be broken, and there's a couple of guys here. Rico Ioane as an All Black is scoring tries for fun. Bowden Barrett the same. So look, I'll enjoy it while I can. But
you're safe enough for a couple of years, I think, man, and then you got to start looking at Munster signing a few of these guys then in the next 2 or 3 years to take the pressure off. But yeah, so you came to Munster. You had massive success with the club here, winning the Heineken Cup in 2008 and becoming a huge part of the squad and a huge part of the Munster culture. But I think we've been very lucky within the club to have kept yourself on. You've moved into your current role as the head of commercial and marketing. Could you take us through what exactly you're doing there?
Yeah, and I guess that transition piece from sport to the other side, that was an interesting time, and it is for all of us. But luckily enough, I had such a wonderful experience here with Munster Rugby and in Ireland that we decided to stay on. My family, my young ones were in school, and at the time we were looking at opportunities in Ireland. So through that journey, I quickly found out I had to re-educate. So it was a long time since I'd been at university. And I went back to the University of Cork and did my MBA. And through that process, I had exposure through Munster Rugby to the business side of sport. And I slowly worked my way through different positions in Munster to now be the head of commercial and marketing. So look, it's been a great journey. I've picked up a huge amount of skills along the way, and I reflect on a lot of the things I picked up as a rugby player, and it's often something I tell to our young players, our academy, our sub-academy, even our young professionals, is that there are so many skills that we pick up as rugby players, being in team environments, leadership, getting the best out of each other, goal setting, operating under pressure, all these types of things which are transferable into the business world. And I guess what the MBA gave me was the language, to communicate what I knew so well in a team environment and transfer that into a business environment. So I guess as we spoke about earlier, my role as captain of Munster Rugby, involved strategy, game formulation, and I guess that's where I've moved into with Munster Rugby, and planning the future direction of the club. And I think we're quite clear on where we need to go over the next 3 years, and we want to be the best club in the world. So myself, along with the executive team, spending a lot of our time bringing that to life. And that's not only on pitch, although that's a big part of it. We want to be the best club for our people, for our families, for our communities, for our businesses. And that's the thrust of a lot of the work that I'm doing at the moment with Munster Rugby.
Wow. Well, look, we're very lucky to have you down there, man. And I've been fortunate enough to go on a few of these trips with you to New York and London, where you've been trying to promote Munster and the Munster brand to fans over there. So if you, maybe Las Vegas could be a good spot for one, Dubai maybe, Sydney. I love Australia this time of year.
Dougie, I'd be happy to promote Munster Rugby as well.
Baz and Andrew would love to come, man. Yep.
And it doesn't stop amazing me. The Munster people that are spread across the globe, doing fantastic things in their own right. And I guess a big part of my job is communicating and reaching out to these people, because as I'm sure you all know, when you're away from home, you're more interested and you want to be more involved and be brought closer. So, a lot of my role is trying to tie this red ribbon around our diaspora, our people and pull it tighter and tighter, because there's so many good people, supporting Munster from afar.
Well, look, you said it, ma'am. We're right behind you. And look, I think we're witnessing that across not just from Munster, but all the other provinces, and then into Irish rugby firsthand at the moment. And none more so than defeating the All Blacks twice in the last 2 years. What are they saying back home about Irish rugby now? Do you know? Would you be listening to anyone back home, and do they know who we are now?
Oh, look, yeah, well and truly, there's no question about that, and rightly so. I think World Rugby has sort of looked at what we're doing here, and we've got so much right, and obviously that's led by Joe and the national team. But I think the quality of player and the development that's going into our players at the moment, we're starting to see, and the world is starting to look at. So it's great that we're getting the recognition we deserve, but I guess with that come a different set of circumstances and pressures. So, I'm quite confident that we'll be able to lead, from the front. And I guess that's the challenge for Irish rugby at this stage, is to continue to push on. And I think that we're making a good stab at it so far this year with the Heineken Cup. All the 4 provinces playing in quarterfinals, which is exactly where we need to be playing to advance rugby.
And you must have got a little bit of stick for the time the camera flashed to you in Chicago. Yourself and Paulie were celebrating Ireland beating the All Blacks that time. Did you get a bit of stick from everyone at home for that?
Yeah, a small bit. Yeah, listen, it's hard. The same again. This past match in Dublin. You're admiring. You're saying, Bowden, oh, what a great kick, well done, Bowden. And then Peter, Marty, that's fantastic. So you're sort of cheering. You get caught side to side, and I've got great mates in both teams now. So look, it's a unique situation, and I'm privileged to be a part of both of them.
Well, we're lucky to have you, man. So, look, we'll leave it to it. We've given you enough time. Hopefully the kids have gotten off to bed and you can just put your feet up for the evening. So, look, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Dougie. Thanks a million for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Dougie.
Likewise, gents. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again.
Cheers, mate. Right, and you're very welcome back to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby Roundup, where we're going to be looking at the Champions Cup quarterfinals in March 29th, 30th, 31st, I think. First up, we'll look at Saracens versus Glasgow Warriors, at Allianz Park. A repeat of last weekend's game, obviously. Did you watch the game?
No.
It was a cracker. You missed it. Overture play, trying to be cultured. It was what was the score? It was pretty high score. I can't remember exactly what it was, but very exciting anyway. End-to-end stuff. Glasgow kind of showing how you can break Saracens down.
They were in it for long periods, weren't they?
Yeah,
and they just got blown away.
Won it. Yeah. They throw the ball around so well. They've got just that ability to get around teams, and they show that Saracens are such a big side that if you can spread them and stretch them, that they are possible to break down. But you got to live with them physically, and Glasgow didn't really live with them at all. They were just like the players they have, the Vanapolos, Idoje, Cruz, Berger, Barrett, just these lumps that are just impossible to stop.
Just running amok.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that pitch is so fast as well. It's kind of hard to slow them down. There's no muck actually whatsoever. So look, Saracens. They're for me. It's mad that there's 6 English teams got dumped out of it this weekend. They're the only English team left in it, but they're pretty strong.
I wonder will the English teams turn around and say, "Oh, we would like to rearrange the tournament again." We've decided the current format isn't suitable for us anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like it smells like that, doesn't it? A little bit. Yeah, we're all a bit smug over here. Like there's 3 Irish teams.
Change it to a year or two. We'll be back the way it was again.
Play with one hand tied behind our back. Okay, all right. Yeah, I know. Look, it is pretty pretty strange seeing those stats when you think, especially 2 Scottish teams as well, 3 Irish teams. It's phenomenal, and all very different teams. Racing 92 will be up against Toulouse in La Défense Arena.
La Défense.
La Défense. La Défense. Jesus. We'll just let them at it, isn't it? That's the way I look at that fixture.
Yeah, I think Toulouse probably have a better chance than any of the 4 away fixtures, or Glasgow, Toulouse, Ulster, Munster. Toulouse have a better chance of anybody beating Racing in Paris.
Yeah, Clonettley put it up to them again at the weekend.
But then got blown away.
They kind of did, but they were still in it. Like they missed a kick after about 65 minutes that would have put them a point back up, and then they and again scored another try after that. And I just think they were a bit unlucky with a few decisions, and they didn't manage to stop Nakawaro or Vakatawa, or Vakawaro as you like to call them. Collectively call them Vakatawa.
Plays for too long.
They're just unbelievable, the 2 of them. They do some stupid things, but they're impossible to stop. If you do stop them, that's, for me, that's how Racing. That's the only way you're going to beat them.
That was your theory last week with Ulster as well. Actually,
it's the fact of the matter. Russell is obviously a class player, but he's class because he's playing behind unbelievable pack of forwards and guys like that are just throwing ridiculous offloads and decent wingers. But for me, you stop the 2 of them and you beat Racing. Toulouse, they probably have the best chance of winning. You're right.
Toulouse were up to no good at the weekend.
They were, weren't they?
They were being rascals.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what they're up to. Play well, get the win, but that'll do.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to the RDS.
No.
We don't want to go to Dublin.
No. Go across the road, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, Paris is just up there. Come on, we'll go there instead.
Only they could do that.
They nearly got their pants pulled down.
Yeah.
Bath could have beat them in the end.
Could have, yeah. They probably wouldn't have, though.
Actually, that might not. Would that have even mattered?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant now.
Yeah.
Word of the day. Leinster versus Ulster, obviously going to be a huge one. Someone pointed out to me that is happening the same weekend as the Brexit. As Brexit is going to happen.
As the Brexit.
The
Brexit.
So yeah, what is it going to be like when Ulster come down to Dublin? Will they be allowed back in?
We'll be locked out. What do you mean? I'm like, that's my house back there.
Nah,
you have to let me back in.
You left. Nah, you went down there.
So I have a theory.
Right.
All the Ulster fans are gonna go down to Dublin that weekend, and then they'll be on their way back up, and they'll be like, "No, have you not heard of Brexit?
Yeah.
It's been the talk of the town for the last 2 years." And then that's the Sunday, I think, and then the following day is April Fool's. And then Theresa May goes, only messing, go on, you're grand.
What are the chances that it would fall that weekend? Like, that's hilarious. Well, look, it'll add to the banter, I'm sure. God, the jokes that will be cracked will be horrendous. To be honest, as bad as that.
I think the first once or twice, it'll be funny, it'll be fine. After that, you'll be going, Dad, shut up with your jokes.
Will you
Stop repeating your jokes, Dad.
Well, our friend Mark Robson will be having a ball on the television.
I love that.
He will, won't he? Yeah. You're up against it now, Robbo. You got to come out with some good ones. We know you're listening. We know you.
I haven't heard from him. I'm wondering if we slagged him.
Did he? No, we love you, man.
He hasn't texted me in ages.
Well, look, just stop being so insecure, will you? Yeah. And finally, Edinburgh versus Munster at Murrayfield. My first thoughts on this were if Edinburgh would open the whole of Murrayfield, because their attendance from their crowds are pretty garbage. So if they do, Munster will just take over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah.
Which will make it almost like a home quarter final, because Munster people love going to Edinburgh. It's some crack over there as well. Like.
Yeah.
They'll have a laugh. Although they'll go for 4 days, like
but they'll all be at the International Six Nations, and they'll be strapped for cash. It's one or the other.
They'll hold out now, absolutely. Where's the Scottish one is away this way? Yeah, this way.
Yeah. Statistically, 75% of Heineken quarterfinals are won at home. So 25%. So basically one quarterfinal that For me, that's Ulster in Leinster. What's so funny?
Well saved.
What's so funny?
Well saved. For me, that's Munster and Edinburgh. I think gotta be happy enough with that. They won't say they're going to be delighted because they'll be playing the whole, look, they're class.
Yeah.
But, Edinburgh had arguably the easiest trip to the quarterfinals out of any team. The teams they're up against, Montpellier, Toulon and Newcastle, all struggling in their domestic leagues and weren't really challenged hugely. They played some good rugby, but
Edinburgh, they have been brilliant, to be fair. But brilliant is not the same as going to Dublin to play at Leinster or London to play Saracens or La Défense.
Yeah.
Going to Edinburgh is still a very tough fixture.
Yeah.
But just relatively, the language kind of lets us down. Because if you're going to say that's the easiest quarterfinal,
Yeah.
then that's not. That
It
doesn't.
is, that's the fact.
It is, yeah, it is. But
That's
it
the way
just
I'd be
it's
looking at it.
still tricky. Look here. Look.
Look.
It's one of those ones.
It's a great response. That's all we're after. Well, I watched them at the weekend and I thought they were grand. They play this very deep style of rugby where they pass the ball sometimes like 40 yards behind the ruck.
Quite a French style, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd love to play against that because just kind of come up hard and don't let them go around you. What are you You're the one that always says coming hard, right? Not me. And then, I think with Munster, the way they attack teams in defence and put them under pressure, they put that skill set under pressure. And did you see at the weekend, actually, there was a hilarious moment in the game where Bismarck Duplessis for Montpellier was trying to get the ball back.
Where's the ball boy? Or the physio or something?
He was the doctor, medic, whatever a medic is.
Yeah.
Your man, I'd say, I was just looking at I'd say his heart was racing.
Oh, he
during
filled his
that
trunks,
moment.
that fella. That's the last fella you want to start a fight
He
with.
put his foot on the ball and kind of dragged it back.
Was he being a smart arse, was he?
Oh yeah, like you do to a child who's trying to kick a soccer ball. You go, go on, kick it. And you just pull it back with your foot.
Duplessis going, I'm not having this.
Yeah. And then he kind of apologised afterwards.
Oh, did he?
but,
Right, yeah, fair enough.
So he's now a nice guy again, but for a split second he was an asshole. That was quite entertaining. Probably the best part of the game, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Very little else going on. But quickly we'll move on and look at the Irish side. They're off to Portugal for Six Nations training camp tonight, I think. 38-man squad announced last Wednesday. Jack Carty, Tom Farrell, Quillan Blade, all in there. Any surprise omissions for you?
Obviously, Tom Farrell's got in ahead of Stuart McCluskey. Who's the nine?
Byrne didn't get in, which I thought was interesting.
Behind Jack Hardy,
Yeah, which was interesting decision. But have you ever been to one of those?
Carty's been playing so well though.
Yeah, exactly. He did a match-winning try for Connacht again. Big shout out to Connacht actually yesterday again. We almost forgot about them. Big win over in Bordeaux, which gives them a quarter-final against Sale, away to Sale. So again, huge performance for Connacht. But back to Ireland. Have you ever been on one of those pre-Six Nations weeks away?
No.
Yeah.
No, they used to do it back in the day. They used to do whenever there was a rotation in round, the Interpros in round Christmas time. We went to Portugal a couple of Christmases. For like 5 days or something with quite a small squad. But that was a bit. We never did that. I used to hate this pre-Six Nations training week because there's no let up. It's
really
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
I was talking to Conor Murray last night, and he said they'll probably take it easy on them.
Oh.
Go over there, and it'll be obviously there'll be a lot of sore bodies after this weekend, and
Bit of golf,
bit of sun. Yeah,
brilliant.
that's what he was letting on. So, that sounds pretty tasty. Obviously, they're gonna train harder towards the end of the week. They do have England in 2 weeks. And also England are in Portugal as well, which would be interesting. Imagine they came across them in Albufeira on the beach.
What do you mean you've double booked? We're here.
getting the same rental cars down or the same buses down. Eddie Jones came out with something yesterday. Said Johnny Sexton has the bat phone to the referee when he talks.
I haven't heard that expression before.
The bat phone?
Yeah.
Like Batman.
Oh, the bat. Oh, right. Okay.
He He said the referee listens when Johnny Sexton talks to him on the bat phone. Apparently, he's got a bat phone. That's because of his status in the game. You earn that, like Richie McCaw did. That's just him giving a bit of hot air again, is it?
Yeah, and that's him just right at the end. He's giving them a hard time, and then he's gone, look, and he's just balanced it up.
Yeah.
Well, you earn that, just like Richie McCaw.
Okay, so he could have left. It's not that bad then. He could have left it.
No,
as
he
it
just
was,
saved
a
it at
bit
the end.
worse.
He thought at the start, it's a wee bit, I'm antagonising them a little bit here. Just balance it up a bit.
He got booed at Wasps today.
Did he?
Yeah. They put a picture of him up on the screen. Everyone, boo. Yeah. Which I thought was interesting. Why do you think that is?
Don't know.
Boo. Yeah.
Harsh enough.
I love
isn't
I love a boo.
it?
Boos are great.
It's old school.
Boo. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad's great for a boo. Actually, Mike Haley said yesterday that his mother was at the game for the first time ever. She came to a Munster match and she watched the game, or she spent the last 20 minutes of the game in the jacks, just sitting on the jacks, biting her nails.
sick?
She crying or something? Sick. I meant that she was nervous. She was nervous. I thought that was interesting. Did your parents ever do anything, anything weird at games? I was just picturing my dad booing. He used to boo a lot. Oh, God. Sorry, Mike Haley. Okay, we'll move on.
No, my mum left the game one time in a huff because I was on the bench and we were hammering Italy, 40-0 or something. 75 minutes gone, and I was the last man not to get taken off the bench. My mum left the stadium in a huff. She's like, he's not doing that to my Andrew.
She'd be too embarrassed if you came on after 79.
Yeah,
bring you on.
Oh, that's my son. He's not my son.
Was there anything worse than that when you're brought on with 20 seconds to go?
Yeah.
And you look up into the stand and your parents are there.
No, and they've disappeared.
They've gone.
Your mum's on the jack.
You go to give him a wave and you're like, oh, I feel he's brilliant. Now we're moving on to vote on our Guinness Made of More Player of the Weekend, and here were your nominees: Tyg Byrne of Munster, another man of the match; Ulster's Iain Henderson, another man of the match. The two of those should play together sometime, shouldn't they? That's probably a good idea. Who'd get the man of the match then? Simon Zebo, who scored 2 brilliant tries for Racing against Scarlets, or Leinster's Gary Ringrose. Well, thank you for all your votes and comments. The landslide winner is Tyg Byrne. Is that his first?
Since we started in Paulie's teeth, yeah.
Set of POC's tees. Where are flags tonight? No flags.
Have we had our flags confiscated?
Damn it, already. Didn't
Listen,
last long.
that won't be enough. We're still going to Japan.
Yeah, we are.
You can take our flags, but we're still going to Japan.
We've seen how Leinster responded to that. You can't take our flags.
How flaky do they think we are? Oh, no flags. Oh, well, I'm not going to Japan.
We also put out a shout for Twitter questions using the hashtag AskHOR, and here are some of your best ones. Kieran Duncan asks, if you were president/dictator of a small island nation, what crazy dictator stuff would you do? My brother runs a weird global village tours, it's called. It's a, what's the word I'm trying to say? Travel company for obscure destinations around the world. And he goes to places like North Korea, Chernobyl, Cuba, Iraq, Iran, places like that. And the one he went to recently was a place called Turkmenistan, which is over there somewhere. And he told me a brilliant story that there was a dictator in Turkmenistan called Turkmenbashi who used to just name everything after himself. He's dead now, but he will be the eternal leader. There'll never be another president. He's just the leader. But he called bread Turkmenbashi. He calls money Turkmenbashi. He calls shoes Turkmenbashi. Everything is called Turkmenbashi.
Is this true? Is this
true? Oh no, actually, he calls his mother. He calls his cigarettes after his mother, for some reason, or bread or something like that after his mother. This is a true story.
It sounds like the dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen,
Yeah.
where he's run the 100 meters and he's run it with a gun. And he's like shooting all the guys around him.
That's definitely where he got the idea for it. Yeah, look this up, man. It's incredible.
There's a national holiday to a melon over there as well.
To a
It was
melon.
his favourite fruit, yeah. It's a legend. Just look him up.
How do you not higher profile? Haven't I heard of this guy?
You should get Duncan the alpaca involved if you ever become a dictator. You could become a dictator of that island with Simon Gagan.
Dictator in Rathlin.
Rattlin Island, yeah.
That would be nowhere near as glamorous as,
should do-
as you would imagine.
We should do an outside broadcast on that island. I'd love to do that. So I hope that answers your question, Kieran Duncan. How funny is that? Matthew McCarthy, a best 15 where the forwards are made up of backs and the backs are made up of forwards, like Furlong at 10 and Chris Farrell at number 8. That's a good question.
Okay.
Scott Gibbs has been obviously a good prop. He's enormous.
Mm-hmm.
I think Barrett for Saracens would be a good hooker. He's kind of got a face of a hooker. I don't know why.
Burn, Barrett. Ouch.
Who else? You got any?
God, I'm really concerned that we're going to limp in to finish this.
Yeah.
I think,
What forwards would make good backs? That would be Sean Cronin
someone
would be a
like
winger.
Sean Cronin or someone like Jordy Murphy or
Nakawara would be a good
oh yes,
15 or something like that.
anywhere really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave it there, will we?
We are limping. We limped.
We
limped and we died.
Yeah.
We also had a great response to our Popstar Rugby 15 last weekend, where a few of the best additions people made. Josh Holm from Queens of Stone Age. Peter Andre as the next Gavin Henson. Loved that.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, very like him. Justin Bieber and Frank Black and Robbie Henshaw because of his trad roots as well. But that's about it for us this week. Thank you so much for all your comments, questions, for listening and for watching on YouTube. If you are enjoying the show, please do remember to subscribe and leave a rating or a comment. We really appreciate the feedback. I keep getting loads of feedback, by the way, like in person.
Oh, I saw. I was on the train the other day, and this guy turned to me and he goes, takes his earphones out and he goes, "I was just listening to you."
No, that's my dream.
Yeah,
for that to happen.
I was so proud of myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you say it was good?
No, I didn't like it.
Well, we really appreciate any of your comments or your recommendations. So keep those funny questions coming in. Big thank you to everyone that was involved in making the show this week. This has been Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby on Joe together with Guinness. Party on, Trimby.
Party on, Baz.